Peace, peace, peace. You're in tune to the Butcher's Block. I hear my man,
yes,
Krondon. And he didn't come to me. I'm in LA.
Right.
I'm on the West Coast.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm having some fun.
Thank you for coming too, man.
SAS.
Yeah.
Anybody that's watching my show, I would hope that they know SAS.
I hope so, man.
Right?
I'm on the Butcher's Block.
Yeah, exactly. And
don't know SAS, man.
That. You gotta, you know. If you don't, go find it, because I want to spend some time talking about your solo. What was it? Do you have a title already?
Yeah, it's called Everything's Nothing.
Everything's Nothing.
2 words. Everything's nothing.
Why?
I think that we work so hard in life, right, to accomplish things and become accomplished, to become driven, and to exhaust ourselves for the sake of success. And I think that the trick that, again, God plays on us is that we learn through that trial and tribulation and triumph that without certain elements of life, everything that we're working for and putting all of this value on, once we get it, if we don't have certain things, man, we find that it's nothing.
I think, people say everything in moderation, because you appreciate it as it comes when you don't over abuse it.
Yeah.
Even us with being sneaker guys and fashion
Yeah.
I'll pile up boxes
Bruh,
of shoes. Even in my office,
crazy.
and they start devaluing though, right? And this is January
31st, 1/30/113, man. Yes, sir. It's coming. I got a first record called 7-Eleven, produced by Cardo. Of course, DJ Khahil, Dahi, who's one of the best up and coming dudes.
Let me jump in. I just want to make sure that they understand. Khahil is one of the best.
Top of the food chain. He's groomed our careers completely. He came from the real vinyl era, the Fat Beats era, you know what I'm saying? And being the best in that era, you know what I'm saying? And coming self-scientific and all this shit, Krondon and all this shit. And then he went on to produce for any and everybody that is, considered a rap great. I see his diligent work ethic, and it's really rubbed off on me, and he's really been such an example for me and how I individually need to be in this music industry. And I'm an artist, so I have to be a lot more accessible than he does, but
you can be the person that waves his flag.
Yeah, man, and that's what I try to be, bro. Indeed, man. And he is a jewel to work with. Just working with him, I've worked with the greatest people in music.
Talk about how obviously, maybe in hindsight you can see like a transition, but being from outside, watching it, we heard the difference between the traditional West Coast hip hop and what the Alcoholics and that whole thing that they started sounded like, and you're being a product of that. Like, talk about that transition in LA rap.
Yeah, I think starting with in the mid to late 90s, and you had the Death Row era being so prevalent for the West Coast and just the music industry in general, you know what I mean, selling a lot of records, and they were a monster, right? I think that the world began to kind of stereotype what West Coast music should be and sound like and look like. And I think, when you had exceptions always, you had the Far Side or things like that were exceptions to the rule. And then I think what happened with artists like Exhibit, and the Alcoholics, Tash and J-Ro, give much credit to them, who they were put on by King T, who was necessarily a gangster rapper, but who can actually rap. See, that was the unique thing about King T, is he's a legend in the West Coast for being a rapper's rapper that just actually was hood, man. You know what I'm saying?
So it wasn't just lifestyle driven.
It wasn't lifestyle.
He was rapping,
actually being technical and using all. King T for sure. He had to theme the Rap City for 10 years or something. It was his rap, like, you know what I mean? So he represented something for the culture. And then, ushering in the Alcoholics, and then the Alcoholics ushering Exhibit. What happened was what they represented was not someone that fell too far to the left or too far to the right. I'm talking about in either being the gangster or the hippie, but kind of fell right in the middle. And it was just, representative of the culture from all aspects. You know what I mean? And kind of did it in a fly way, though. You know what I'm saying? That kind of everybody could have, you know,
Everybody could relate
to it, and it had a mass appeal to it. And I even think you got to see that peak with X to the Z, because he came through the Alcoholics, but then he went on to become a household name. Star, you know what I'm saying? And from all facets, from working with Eminem to 50 Cent to Snoop to Dre
to movies
to everything. You know, MOP. Like, he worked with everybody and did everything, and it was just good.
How was the response when you're literally going against the grain for the music that's coming out of where you're coming out of? Locally, how was the response? Did people go, whoa, what is happening? Or did they go, finally, yes, you represented a voice that hasn't been represented. Like, there's a voice that you're filling in a void.
I think it was half and half at that time.
So you got some people to go, whoa, wait.
Yeah.
I mean, how it's supposed to sound.
Especially coming with Strong Arm Steady. Like, I think you had, you know, because when Strong Arm Steady came around, that was the kind of the end of corporate America being in control of what rap music did, you know, and major labels and major record deals being at the apex of what was popping.
You guys started growing
right at that time, and being
transitioned from needing majors to being independent and actually earning a living and being productive and doing it.
And doing it on your own without a staff in the building over there. You know what I mean?
And not needing to rely on a big machine to push you when social media and the web is available for you to speak to your fans. Now, let me ask you something a little personal. I heard you talk about it in previous interviews. And I know it's a passion of yours to educate. And we don't have to go too deep into it, but you're making different sounding music. From your predecessors and what people expect in LA. You look a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You're a black man. You know what I'm saying? From LA, from the hood and all that, but you have a different look because of albinism. Now, was that a hurdle? Did you have to prove yourself more? Just on the strength of being different, like on the outside?
Two things I truly believe, Frank, is that God doesn't give you anything you can't handle, you know, and I know that's cliche, but it's a truth. Something that's not cliche, I don't think people know, and this is also a truth. And it works into every aspect of life. And if you think about it, if you start to really think about it, you'll trip, man. And that is that God uses, this is how God works, man. This is how you know there's a God. Because he uses what we deem as weak to shame what we view as strong. I mean, think about like basketball. Right? That's a tall man sport, big man sport, right? Why is it always the little guy?
It seems like that
Chris
little
Paul,
guy,
the Steve Nash. It's always the little guy that comes in.
It seems like he knows that he's counted out because of his physicality.
And he comes in and he masters the sport in another angle that you can't even get to do. So I'm just using that as one example for the layman.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Letting me into the studio. LA's awesome.
Thank you, man.
I'm a big fan of what you do.
Thank you, brother.
And I know there's a mutual respect, which is even iller. You know what I'm saying? Man. That I can say, yo, I dig him and he digs what I do. So
yes, sir.
So stay in tune. Album coming the top of the year. Fresh start. Krondon.
Yes, sir.
SAS.
Yes, sir.
The Butcher's Block. Peace.